My name is Mario Cavett, and for the past 9 years, I finally got to the point where I could develop an actual studio. It's a virtual studio for creating games. And the journey that I had was a long journey to actually getting to the point to where I could develop the games that I wanted to develop. And not really keep in mind that I could also inspire others while I was doing it. Because at the time, I wasn't thinking about that. What I was thinking about was that if I had enough time and I had enough time to concentrate on it, then I could make it into the video game industry. And to this day, that's what I've been trying to do with very little money to actually do it. But I put down for investment what I can. And I think every person trying to break into an industry, I think that's what they're doing. So I'm 38 years old right now. I live in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, one of the most violent and poor cities in the southeast. So that's pretty much what that is. That trying to overcome some pretty tough odds. I've grown up poor most of my life, so it's me putting myself into a situation to where I can actually produce something. I'm also a writer, artist, in every way that you could think about it. I'm also a rapper. I do that a little bit. So it's the process of actually getting myself in line to where that I could actually form something that was completely different from anyone else's. So the idea behind me producing games has to do with me trying to get into the industry. That's the whole point of me trying to do it. However, some of the games that I put on itch.io, I'm going to actually put a price tag on it, and I'm going to start making some money off of it. But not right now. I want to sort of develop a sort of fan base behind Joker Card Games, so I can then push it into more of a platform where I can make money. So right now, it's a platform just to showcase a game that I developed as soon as I could find a reasonable developer that wasn't looking to get rich on Fiverr. So I found the developer and realized that he's from Japan, and I realized that all great developers are from Japan as far as software goes. So that'll be my target market on Fiverr from now on. When I'm looking for someone to develop a software with, it's going to be from Japan. So they're the only ones that could really understand my mechanics as far as game development goes anyway. Now that I think about it, I grew up, my first game system I had was Nintendo. So I grew up playing Nintendo, but before that, I was playing in the arcade. So my methodology was for pretty much arcade games. You know what I mean? So every game that I develop is going to have an arcade vibe to it. What caught my attention with Black Diamond Authority is the fact that it was an actual company that had a niche for creatives that was actually black owned, black operated. You don't find too much of that. Most of the game industry, the software industry, the technology industry in the United States period is filled with just a lot of white faces. If not white faces, then Asian. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of black people doing this type of stuff because they're almost confident that if we try to do anything, white people aren't going to accept us into it anyway. And if they do, there's going to be so few of us that they accept, whether it doesn't matter anyway. So I think that people are developing their own games. People are developing games that are really good, and I think Black Diamond Authority represents the ideal that if you develop something good enough, they've got to deal with you then. The industry has to deal with you if you develop a big enough following. That goes for every industry. If you develop a big enough following, then the industry has to deal with you. Or if you're able to get a job doing something else within the industry, then the industry has to deal with you. So that's the process. What makes a black-owned company is that it actually can develop content that not only appeals to black people, but it appeals to pretty much everybody. So the idea behind owning a black company is more of an inclusive thing than, let's say, people having a white-owned company and they're very niched on who they bring in, just like a Japanese company, just like an Indonesian company. They're very, very picky on who they bring in. And I think that's a problem. You over-specialize and you breed in weakness. So you shouldn't over-specialize. You should always get people that have the passion and understand what it is to do the work. So those are two criteria that actually make a black-owned company, that make the company successful, and the understanding that there's an international market. I think that understanding is more important, is that the international market that will deal with you. And you don't have to go through anybody else. You can go through yourself and put up your own money to actually pay for translators and to get things set up in a very professional way. So it's just any service that's creative excites me. Any service that's creative that is offered by the company, it's gonna be great because it's within the creative field, and it's something that can be put into the portfolio of the company. When you have a company and you make moderate to low to very light investments, then you can actually develop anything that you want today. Today is different than it was back in, let's say, the 90s. Today, you don't have to be on site. You can be remote. You can do everything remotely. You can make a living remotely. You can get rich remotely. You don't have to go out and slave the 9 to 5 like people did back in the day. People used to have to go into work at least back in the day. The biggest thing that people looked at when you start talking about working in the game industry, and just for example, is that people would wear t-shirts and jeans. They wouldn't dress up, and that was peculiar to many people. Peculiar to many people. They thought that wearing t-shirts and jeans to the office was just very juvenile. So today, just doing anything in the creative field excites me. It's a great opportunity to get some detail in there that can really change things. No, I haven't seen a company like this before. I visited the website. I have not seen a company like this before, presented like this before. It's very important that a company like this keep its actual market and tries to appeal to a base of people that will not necessarily number in the millions, but a base of people that can at least actually contribute to it in the way that people used to contribute to Time Magazine before Time Magazine became all big time. When Time Magazine was just nothing. When it was nothing, people contributed to Time Magazine. That's how it became big. So no, I have never seen a company like this before. Well, the hope for the company is that it can be as successful as it possibly can. But my hope for this company is that it really appeals to an international base, and more so than just trying to appeal to the United States. The United States, you'll find that many people in the U.S., not all, but many people in the U.S., they're not going to contribute to something that's black-owned. So you're going to have to find your market elsewhere, meaning that you're going to have to make business contacts. How best to market to an international market, and you're going to have to go and spend some money. But the best thing is to get a third-party service and to go through Fiverr. The best thing to do to get a third-party service, and that way you won't have to spend so much money to where that you can't handle it. You can spend a little bit at a time, spend as little money as you possibly can. I say that too because I'm a cost leader. Like when it comes down to having my MBA, I have my MBA. So when it comes down to business administration strategy, I'm a cost leader. The minimum amount of money and the maximum amount of result is what I'm all about. So when you start talking about what my hopes and dreams for the company are, is I'll say what my hopes are. You leave the dreams out. I don't believe in having dreams and trying to live out a dream. I live out what I hope to be, and I strive and do the work. So what I hope can come into fruition. Yes, I hope to be a part of the BDA projects. Whenever I can get free, I hope to be a part of the projects. The projects are going to be great. They're just going to be great because they've got vision behind them. Any project that doesn't have vision and a person with the vision, then I'm not going to have anything to do with it. The fact that it has someone with vision, that's what I'm going to get behind. That's what I'm going to contribute to. A realized idealism. I mean, years ago, black people could not develop companies like this. It just wasn't even possible. They couldn't develop companies like this. Nobody would listen to them. Nobody would look at them. Twice when they tried to develop a company like this. There was a time people tried to develop a company like this and people just laughed at them. But nowadays it's different. And so I would say the Rolls Royce of creatives is what BDA is going to be. It's going to be the Rolls Royce of black creatives coming together and making things their own once again. Sort of like they did in the 80s with the comic book industry. People came together and there was a whole underground black comic book movement. And I think that BDA is going to be a much bigger version of that.